sir.
The liberation of mutant kind has begun.
Welcome to the future.
Who's this clown?
Not clown, Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark.
Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto.
My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poison, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You unlock this door with the...
Welcome, fellow fatties, fellow admins, fellow members. Patty, Joe, what up, man? I love the name change, by the way, Joe. It looks great. I love it. But what up? It is episode 181 of Two Fat Guys Pull List, and we've got a pretty. I think we have a pretty good show. I think we're gonna have a lot to talk about. Well, no, hold on. I think there's a lot of good discussion to have. I'm not saying that the comics were good. I'm just saying there's a lot of good discussion to have.
Okay.
Right. But you know, it is what it is. We'll get to it. I'm sure everyone has their thoughts about what was released this week and how they felt about them. I've definitely had a couple days to process. Sounds so stupid. Like, oh, I got to process this. Process what was released and how I feel about each and every single one of the books that we read this week. So that's interesting. But Patty, how you doing? Jaden, Joe, hope you're all are well. Anyone else that's here that isn't in the chat, get in the chat, leave a note, talk to us, say hi, say what's up. Also, make sure to hit the like button. You know, get them likes up if you're here. Mm-hmm. Got to do your part. What? Who's that?
Oh, that's my sister talking about my daughter.
Right. I was like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Two Fat Guys late night. Anyway, RP Boom Studios. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about it. But anyway, welcome to episode 181. As always, we're gonna take care of some business, and then we'll talk about the books. First of all, we got to talk about our show's sponsor, which is Collected Comics and Games here in the DFW area. They have 3 locations: one in Fort Worth, one in Irving, and one in Hearst. And it's a great LCS. It's where me and Nate get our books. You get everything from new comic books, back issues, omnibus, hardcovers, trades, card games, action figures, models, toys, plushies, all that good stuff over at Collected Comics and Games. So definitely go check them out if you're in the DFW area. And if you're not, go over to staycollected.com. And we were doing pre-show, so I totally forgot to pop this up on my screen. So now I got to do it live. We'll do it live. But they have a website called staycollected.com. And I would implore you to go there if you're not in the DFW area and check them out, because they've got some really cool stuff over at staycollected.com. Specifically, they've got exclusives, store variants, exclusive variants. And you can order all those there. You can actually get a Two Fat Guys pull box as well, which is pretty neat. If it'll click. Oh no, the website's not working. Well, it's working, but it's not. Okay, anyway, go over to staycollected.com. It's awesome. And you can do all kinds of fun stuff there and check out all the cool things that they have available there if you're not in the DFW area to do some shopping. So that is our show sponsors, Collected Comics and Games. Also, we got to talk about our show's milestone giveaway. That's right. We are giving away some slabs when we hit certain sub goals. And right now we're on the track to 1,250 subscribers. And when we hit 1,250 subscribers, we're giving away this Uncanny X-Men number 1, 9.8 CGC grade, signed by Jim Chung. It's a pretty sick. I'll put it up close here. That's the reflection. So we're giving this bad boy away. Oh my gosh, the glare is real. Anyway, we're giving this away. when we hit 1,250 subscribers. So if you're not already subbed, make sure you hit that sub button, ring that bell, and give us a like. And when we hit 2,000 subs, now we'll be giving things away from this slab to other slabs to 2,000. We have some other ones in line, but when we hit 2,000 subs, we're giving away a pretty big one, and that is our Thor #1 sketch variant, Nick Klein sketch variant, signed by Donny Cates, 9.8 CGC grade. So we'll be giving this away when we hit 2,000 subs. So please make sure to hit that sub button. You're going to want to hit that so you can be in the drawing to give this when we give this away. So be good. All right, that is the show's. God dang, I can't talk tonight for some reason. That's the business. All right, let's get to this week's comics. Right. Pretty interesting week. I have a pick of the week. And I'm actually very excited about it. I had a lot of fun with it. And I'm pretty sure Nate thinks he knows what it is, but it's not what he thinks it is. But let's talk about Boom really quick, since you were, I did the video, and I just kind of want to get more of your thoughts on it, Nate, because I know you sent me some of your notes, and I tried really hard to convey those notes as best, but you did it so well and elegantly in your text, and I want everybody else to hear what you had to say about Boom. Not shutting down, but being sold. Uh-oh, can't hear you. There you go. Now? Yep, can hear you now.
Sorry, my daughter called me and had to take that.
That's all good.
Yeah. So, I mean, my favorite publisher kind of going down the toilet, it seems, which is not great, but I would, I think you would be hard pressed to find an example of a smaller independent company being taken over by a massive conglomerate and it going well. Right. There are some things like Something's Killing the Children. I was hoping would make like 100 issues. I was hoping this is just such a good run. Everyone loves it so much. It's so lauded. Really, no one complains about it ever. Should be able to get it like 100 issue run. And now, I almost guarantee we're done at 50. We're like in the late 30s right now. Yeah, we're if we make it to 50.
So what I find interesting is in the article. So I was like, I remember when we were texting, I was like, I think they sold, if I'm not mistaken, Penguin Random House was sold, or Disney had a stake in it, and that's actually not it. Well, they do, but not originally. So 20th Century Fox, I guess, had a stake in Penguin Random House, and then when Disney acquired Fox, they gained those rights. So Marvel now has a stake in their distribution publishing. That's what they. So they, I guess they have positions. They have positioning within Boom now, I would assume.
I mean, I don't know if it goes that far. I don't know that they're gonna. There's probably enough bureaucratic bullshit in between it that anyone at Marvel is not gonna have a direct impact on anything.
Right.
At Boom. However, I don't think that really matters. I mean, even in the press, they told us all the things you want to hear, right? Like they said, editorial staff is staying. They're going to retain publishing independence. Distribution won't change at all. But that for now. But how long until that staff is like, oh, my time at Boom was so great, but I'm moving on to other things,
Right.
That talent would be nice to go to other places that we like Distillery or Mad Cave or something like that, but I don't know. This is kind of like the typical farce of American consumerism, right? It's always, well, now we have the money to back it up. It's kind of like Bungie, right? Like when Bungie went independent for a little bit, they're like, yes, Bungie can do whatever the fuck they want to do. And then Bungie was independent for a while and said, oh, this is for the fucking birds, man. And then Sony called them like, yeah, here it is.
Yeah, we'll take it.
This. Here.
Yeah, for sure.
Give us money. So I don't know. I think that we will probably still see comics from them for quite a while, but I don't know that Boom hits its 30th anniversary. It's about to hit 20 next year.
Yeah, I think
it hits its 30.
Like you said before, like they have their slate of comics set for probably a year, or maybe even 2 years, maybe even 3, who knows. But I think after that, as we move towards the end of the first year of the deal, I think we're you're going to see a lot of riders jump. You know, I mean, for Tinian, who cares, right? He's starting his own thing. Like he's going to move his stories no matter what to his publishing. Now, what'll be interesting is, do these artists, you know, what is the, I don't want to say legality, but like, what are the terms on the IPs that they have produced with Boom? You know, do they, you know, I guess they don't have them outright. There's some split there.
I don't know. I think Boom operated pretty similarly to Image, where it's just like, this is your shit. You're just paying, like, the creators are paying Image to do the distribution. Do the
so
printing
then,
and distribution.
Who knows? I mean, not to say, you know, this is purely speculation, but I'm just saying, like, some of the stories, and I'm mainly focusing on Onion. You know, there are probably other writers that have done stuff with Boom that may do the same thing. But if that's the case, where they actually own their IP and they can push that story wherever they want, then we may see, you know, a Something's Killing the Children or Wind or whatever from Onion going either to his publication, which he's starting, or to Image. Who knows? You never know. So there may be some glimmer of hope there, but I don't know. I thought that Netflix had a deal with them, so that's what I thought too. But when you read that article, it was like,
they still have a first look deal with Boom, and I believe that, I mean, I don't know for certain, but from what I understand, that supersedes whoever owns Boom. That's a multi-year agreement. It doesn't matter that Boom sells to a company that has that up the triangle eventually leads to Disney. That doesn't matter. They still have an agreement. So I think that still has to be honored.
And Joe,
they haven't used it, so who cares?
Right, Joe, definitely you're right. Like, Aftershock closed was it Aftershock?
Well, they're not technically closed. They filed for bankruptcy. That's why a bunch of those creators didn't get paid. But they have not technically closed. They're like restructuring. They're still publishing a little bit, not a lot.
Not a lot, yeah. Joe also said, great week for me. My top 3 were X-Men, Spider-Boy 9, and my patois was X-Men Heir of Apocalypse. I haven't even picked up the second issue. I keep on forgetting about that book. I need to go get it. We'll talk about X-Men. We'll get there. All right, well, that's Boom. We'll see. You know, we're just going to have to wait and see how it goes, and really see how they navigate the water, you know, and if they exist or not in a couple years. We'll just have to see.
Yeah.
All right, let's kick off the show with Dark Horse's Dawn Runner. Dude, I can't talk today. Dawn Runner, issue number 4 from Ram V. This is my pick of the week.
That's Jim's pick of the week.
This was fucking awesome. I absolutely loved this book. The parallels with Evangelion and this there's no doubt that Ram was using Evangelion Neon Genesis as a inspiration for this book. It's very evident. There's a little bit more, you know, original ideas kind of floating around within the book, but at its core, this is a Neon Genesis Evangelion book. So it's just my pick of the week. And it got fucking weird and gross very quickly. So our female pilot, did you end up reading this? Did you end up getting caught up or no? So our female pilot, you know, she's been having this connectivity with this soul that's inside the mech, and connecting with him, and they're kind of learning each other's histories as they go. And, you know, when this giant monster attacks, they end up, you know, getting to the point where things get so real, the emotions get so high that we kind of, this is the berserker, right? This is the berserk mode. The mech goes in its berserk mode when it gets attacked and almost gets destroyed completely. Now, in Evangelion, when Shinji goes berserk, right, like the line between Eva and human pilot kind of gets blurred, but within the context of the show, every time they're done, he ends up coming out, you know, as a human. He's fine. He's not contaminated. His connection with the mech or the Eva is intact.
Mm-hmm.
we've got one. I think we have one issue left, so we have to go. We have to go quick here, and so there is a point where we're about to hit berserk mode, and our pilot has an emotional connection with this spirit, if you will, this ex-military person, and her body dissolves into the capsule that she's in, and it goes berserk. So it looks like she is one with the machine, quite literally. So they at one point they've got like a crew going in because it's so damaged. It's been destroyed by this monster that showed up, and the crew is like looking inside the pod that she's supposed to be in. It's just fluid. She's not there, and they show it when it happens. She like starts to dissolve. She's like, "Bleh," and like her teeth are showing. It was gross. And they N2 mine the monster, and so also when you see the monster after it gets blown up, it's got like human faces all over it, just like going fucking nuts. It was gross. But the issue ends with the robot, the mech and the pilot like getting ready to go to battle with this thing, and it just got really gross. Like it just, everything is berserk. It's destroyed. Seeing the pilot basically fuse into the mech, it was crazy. Was it chaotic? Yes. It was at times hard to follow, but I think that was the point, right? It was messy because Ram didn't know what he was doing. It was messy because I think that's the tone. It was chaotic. Like there's a mystery to this thing. I liked it. I really liked it. I've liked this series from the jump. I've had a lot of fun with it, and I was very pleased with it. I had a lot of fun with it.
Nice.
So that's me. Let's see here. Spencer says, it's been a sad time for indies as Scout, Vault, and Aftershock had some great books. Joe says, there is a lot of speculation for Ramby having a book in the Absolute DC universe that to be announced during Comic-Con. What book are you personally wanting to see him write? Listen, I have my thoughts about DC. I think we talk about it every week, so I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But if it's another fucking Batman book, I'm out. Like I am over there being like 50 Batman books. You know what I mean? Like I hope you know what? I hope Ram V does a absolute DC Doom Patrol. That's what if there was a group of people that I'd want him to write a story about, it's the Doom Patrol. So there's my answer. I just, DC for me is so frustrating right now. Because they have a direction, but they don't at the same time. And I'm not going to go down that road. But for me, if it's true, because every absolute DC Universe book right now, I mean, there's like 2 that aren't a Batman book. All of them are Batman books or Batman adjacent books, and I'm just not there for it. I'm not here for it. Sorry.
Well, the question is, what would I personally want to see him write? That's kind of hard because I'm not super familiar with a ton of extra DC stuff. Like I know Ron V's work, but like I don't know if he'd be really good on like a Hawkman or something, But like I don't know much about Hawkman, so that'd be cool. Why don't we say that? Why don't we say Hawkman? Okay. I feel like for some reason he's gonna get an Aquaman book, just because he did that Aquaman Andromeda with Christian Ward, that like 3-issue magazine size, big, sweeping, sort of like cosmic horror thing, and he did really well. So I almost would be curious if that maybe not necessarily is like a sequel or directly opposed to that, but like they let him play with Aquaman some more. But I don't.
It's
DC. I so don't care about Absolute DC that
I know, and it's unfortunate. But like when they announced it, and it's just like, Batman Viking. Batman
Martian Manhunter would be cool too.
Yeah, Martian Manhunter sounds amazing. And that's the thing, like, what do you want them to write? This. And then they go, well, yeah, but we're just gonna write about Batman. And it's like, okay, one, maybe two Batman books tops, and then focus on some of your other characters. Like, I get it, it's called Detective Comics, I get it, but we need more. We need something more substance. He's been and dark characters like Catwoman, Carnage, Swamp Thing, Batman. Yeah, for sure. Like, I think you do a great job on a lot of those. I don't know, man. We'll get to it. All right, moving on. We got from Image, we have Ain't No Grave, issue number 3 from Scotty Young and Jorge Corona. I really like this issue as well. We're getting a lot more personality from, what's her name? Starts with an R. Ryder. That's right. And just her kind of not so subtle giving a fuck or not giving a fuck. She just kind of does what she wants and deals with the ramifications. Sometimes she doesn't deal with the ramifications. She just does it and just moves on. And if there are consequences, if she doesn't acknowledge them, then they don't exist, right? Like, that's how it works. And that's just kind of how she operates. I will say the mechanic between what's going on in her present life and then jumping back to the past to kind of mirror the two, it's starting to grow on me. When it first was introduced in the first issue, I was kind of like, I don't know if I like this way of storytelling. But now that I know like that mechanic and how it works, when it happens in the book, it's not so jarring, right? Like it makes sense now. What's up, Stefan? So I liked it. I liked the poker game. I liked her slyness in hell when she cheated and whether it's a demon or whatever it is, was like, oh yeah, you're right. I didn't tell you how you could win. Like, it's like, that's sly, but you're still gonna get your ass kicked. I thought that was cool too.
Right.
I don't know. I thought it was a good issue. I think the artwork is slowly, like, I think each issue the artwork is getting better and better.
Well, yeah, because it's not as ridiculous. Even though her hair is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, well, this whole premise is ridiculous, to be honest. It
is. But
I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was a good issue. It was solid. I think it was better than the second issue, and the second issue was really good.
I think this is the best issue yet. I think the reason why I feel that way, at least, is because the supporting characters felt way more fleshed out and alive than anyone that we've run across so far. Like the demon, or like you said, however, like that's on the cover here. Like, she seemed like a much more fleshed out living character than a lot of other supporting one appearance issue characters. And it made everything flow a lot better. It felt almost more cinematic to me. I felt like I was watching it while I was reading, as opposed to like really just, which was nice. I felt like Scotty Young really hit his stride with this issue.
Yeah, and I will say the colorist on this book is doing a phenomenal job. I mean, it is so vibrant and fluid. And you could take an L on that pretty easily and just say, yeah, we're just gonna get by with this. And like, I think they're doing a great job with the coloring on this book. Maybe a take on Superman or a lighter character, Joe says. Oh yeah. Empire says, can't wait for San Diego Comic-Con for all the new comic news. Yeah, I will definitely be making a ton of new comic book news videos now that I've got this new camera with the little this little thing. I love it. Like, I feel like a little like I love it. It's so much fun. I Sarah, my wife's like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm making a video. She's like, what? Like, breaking comic book news, babe. Anyway,
gotta do it. It's part of the job.
Right, it's part of the job. I read issue 1 and really enjoyed it, but it feels like the story is billed to break your heart, so I had to walk away and might read the trade. Got it, Joe. Hey,
that's just what happens when Scotty Young and Corona get together. That's just kind of what they do.
Well, and it reminded me, like, I was looking at the back and remember what was that story we read where she was doing the paintings?
The Me You Love in the Dark?
Yeah, dude. Like, when I saw that ad, I was like, oh shit, I remember that book. It was so good. And I remember it being very dark and not, it definitely broke your heart. So yeah, you're right. Like, we're definitely moving in that direction with this book. There's no doubt about that.
Yep.
All right, moving on. We got Transformers issue number 10. Yo, I think we slowed down a little bit. We definitely slowed down and focused in on what we're doing, which is Decepticons are bringing Cybertron and they're going to drain Earth. So they're pulling a Unicron. And I know you don't know what that is, but so imagine a Galactus version, a Transformer, but it's Galactus, right? It's a giant planet that eats other planets, but then it can also turn into a giant robot. Like, it can turn into, just look up Unicron. It's fucking awesome. Okay. So that's what the movie, the original animated Transformer movie was about. It was Unicron going around and destroying planets, and then he comes to Earth and he's like, oh. And I believe, no, Unicron wasn't. Galvatron, who was the retooled version of Megatron, was
You're
hold
just
on,
making
was
shit up now.
no, was voiced by Leonard Nimoy.
Sure.
And I know the voice actor for Unicron was pretty famous. I just can't remember his name. But he was a dope ass character. Anyway, that's what it looks like we're essentially doing here, but we just have Shockwave doing the teleportaroo, bringing Cybertron over and draining Earth of its energon, which apparently it is rich in. we just didn't know.
Apparently.
Seeing finally getting the confirmation that Ultra Magnus is the beat up robot and is kind of wishing for death, and he's like, no, we got to keep you alive. Like, I always feel like Ultra Magnus got the short end of the stick in the cartoons. Again, in the movie, he gets the Matrix, the leadership Matrix key thing from Optimus when he dies, and then he sequentially gets killed on a planet because he doesn't know how to open the key because he wasn't a true Prime. Whatever. Like, it was really just to sell toys. But you look at Ultra Magnus, he looks like a badass. I mean, he is a semi truck. He's bigger than Optimus. He looks fucking cool. He's red, white, and blue. He looks dope. So hopefully he gets a little. Maybe Daniel Warren Johnson's kind of moving towards there being a little bit of a redemption for Ultra Magnus. So. Mm-hmm. We'll see, but it's very clear that they're going to bring him back in some capacity to fight the war. I really dug the scene where Shockwave was like, "Oh, look at all these beautiful things in the ocean, all these mammals like whales and dolphins and fish," and like, yeah, it's a spectacle. And then he just feeds them into the engine. I was like, God damn! Like,
yep.
I liked it. I thought it was really good.
The big splash page where we see Cybertron, the double splash page where we see Cybertron getting fully pulled in. I was like, oh, this feels pretty heavy. This feels pretty big. This is pretty hardcore. I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed the whole I think the same scene was right before what you were just talking about, the whales, where that dude that's been here forever was like enjoying nature and shit. Was like, nah, I'm just not going to be a part of any of this. Him and the guy he tied up and the boy or Sparky, sitting on the beach, just like chatting away. I liked that. I thought it was a good little break and everything. His whole little story of how he got like launched onto the moon and then came down to the earth. It was like, just gonna chill with the birds, man.
And I don't know if he is a old character or not, or if that's a character specifically made for this comic, but now we kind of get a better understanding of where this dude's coming from. And I just wish we had gotten a little bit of that. I know you can't really get all that context in the past issue, but like issue 9, we had so many different stories going on. I think you could have slowed it down a little bit so that obviously we felt a connection here with him because we got his backstory. I feel like we could have gotten a little bit of that over in the other one if you're going to put like 15 other storylines in that book. If there's any criticism. But the fact that we got it in this book made me feel a lot better about the character and what he did in issue 9. So I guess that's a referendum there. But Joe says, I know this is up your wheelhouse, or Jim, but I have to ask Nate, is it just me, or is this run running on nostalgia alone? I'm starting to lose excitement and wanting something big and get exciting too.
I would say that if you had asked me this last month, especially after issue 9, I would have been like, hell yes. Yeah, we really need something. But I feel like we got it in this issue. And it's sparked a little bit more. I also just really enjoyed the art in here, so it's been a little bit easier to hang on to, even though it is sort of the relying too heavily on the nostalgic aspect. However, I feel like the payoff is going to be worth it, so I'm willing to put in a little bit of extra change here by reading these when the actual crossover stuff happens.
Well, and that's the one thing that we've both said is like we desperately want the crossover part to happen very soon. Like we need it. Like I think all 3 of the titles, Void Rivals, G.I. Joe, and Transformer need it. Like we need an annual. We need a big annual. Much like Supermassive over with Radiant Black, where like you actually have substance in the annual, and then you get to your actual singles, and like then it just kind of calms down again. But we just need we need a big fat annual for the Energon universe. You know, and I know some people are saying, well, that's the new comic book day, and yeah, I guess, or a free comic book day book. But I mean, we need something that I can actually sink like $10 into and just be like, here's the big connecting web that's going to really fit everything together and give you some big purpose. Not that I'm like saying that we absolutely need it, but I think it's time. It's definitely time. So
also, before we move on, I was going to give you a hard time because you were saying the voice of Ultra Magnus in the movie was someone famous, and I was expecting it to be like William Shatner or something. No, it was fucking Orson Welles.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It was Orson Welles doing a voice for Transformers. It was literally the last thing he did before he died.
Yeah.
Like
I knew it was
dead before
big.
the movie even officially came out.
Yeah, dude. I know, like again, like I know you don't watch cartoons, but like the Transformers movie with Unicron, like it is a fucking masterpiece. Like it's got, you know, the really shitty synth rock, you know, like, but it's just fucking iconic. Like,
yeah,
there is a scene where one of the human characters, Daniel, and Hot Rod are fishing on Earth, and Optimus, it's the opening scene. Optimus and the Autobots are coming in, and they've been attacked. Or no. The Decepticons have taken over a Autobot shuttle, and so they're like Trojan horsing into the Transformers base, and so they're fishing. And Daniel like looks up. He's like, "Oh, look! It's the Autobots," and he like pulls out his like like a scope or something, and then sees Megatron. He's like, "Holy shit! It's the Decepticons!" And Hot Rod's like looks up and goes, "Oh fuck! We gotta go warn Optimus." And I think this movie came out after Back to the Future. I can't remember, but Daniel has a hoverboard, right? And so he gets on this fucking hoverboard. It's like, and they take off, and Hot Rod's behind him running, and then like he hits a rock, like pink, and he's starting to fall, and Hot Rod's like, he transforms. He's like, "I got you, Daniel!" Like, and as he transforms, he sits in the driver's seat, and he's like, "You got to learn how to drive in style," and then like takes off, and then this I think it's Dan Bush or David Bush song comes on, and it is just like, it's so badass, right? That movie has such an awesome soundtrack. Like there's a Weird Al Yankovic Dare to Be Stupid song when they get on this planet. The robots are just made of trash. It's fucking awesome, dude. Like I think you should see it. It's so good.
Joe, if you had any other question why this book is so popular, it's
because of that.
People like Jim buying this book.
Let's see. I hope we get a comic trailer for Energon crossover at Comic-Con. Stefan, I'm ready for Tunnel. Is it Tunnel Rat? Sorry, my camera's in the way. Tunnel Rat to crawl up in a Transformer. Yeah, that's great. Let's keep going. All right, next up, jumping over to DC with our one DC book, and that is Green Lantern issue number 13. I didn't like it. And the reason why I didn't like it is because this is my fear with Absolute Power, and I think you said this last week. It's coming off across in most of these ongoing books that we're reading that they had a story that they were telling. Keep on looking into the camera. I gotta just look at the screen. They had a story that they were telling, and then they were like, DC editorial, like higher up editorial, was like, "Oh, hey, by the way, we've got Absolute tie-in. You have to write something for this." And they're like, "Okay, sure." And like, Batman's felt very like, yeah, just plug and play. This felt like that even more, because like, how many times did you turn the page where it was like, you want to figure out what Nestro was doing? Go read this. You want to figure out what the original Green Lantern was doing? Oh, go read this. Oh, you like it, and it just didn't feel at all. It just didn't feel like the Green Lantern book we've been reading for 12 issues. Like, not at all. And like, the way Amanda Waller is portrayed in this book is why I don't give a shit about the event. She does, in my opinion, she does not warrant the threat that she's giving. I just don't see her as that character. I am not afraid.
Well, that's because we haven't been paying attention to what she's been doing in DC for the past couple of years.
I guess. But like in Batman, right? When we read Batman, how did I not see this? How did Amanda Waller? No, absolutely not. No. And in this one, I'm gonna beat you up, Hal. I'm gonna beat you up. Here's my shark. I'm gonna beat you up. Like, okay. I don't know. Like, the main book, one issue in, seems to be doing it for me, but these tie-ins feel so forced.
Yeah, I mean, this is literally this felt like a free comic book day or like a prelude book that you get. It's like, hey, do you want to know what the characters that are very loosely involved with Green Lantern are doing during this event? Well, we'll tell you where to find them, but we certainly won't fucking tell you here. So go read this book. Go read. I mean, we were suggested, I think, 4 or 5 comics. Sinestro alone, they gave us 2 separate books. Go read Sinister Sons and go read Kneel Before Zod. Like,
and when I saw those notes,
I'm not gonna do that.
When I saw those notes, I was like, nope. Like, I said nope, and Sarah, I was reading in bed, and Sarah goes, "What?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it. This fucking stupid comic book shit."
Yeah. Like, also, like, taking on the entire Justice Society in this book. What Justice Society has nothing to do with Green. Alan Scott, as cool as of a character as he is, and he's like this odd de facto Green Lantern. There's really no connection.
Well, he's the original Green Lantern,
right? But he's not a Green Lantern like any of the other Green Lanterns.
Right.
They have a name in common. That's it. Nothing else. And so it's like, what? Why? Why were we doing all this here? Why were we looking at these characters? First of all, I don't even know who's like. What is that guy's name? I don't remember. It was like just like Cloak Man or something. The guy that was with the Speedster. I'm like, what?
I don't even remember.
Why do we care about these people in the Green Lantern book?
Excuse me. No, I don't even.
And then the boy, the fiance that gets stood up turns into a Black Lantern because he's a sad boy about having lost his girlfriend. Really? He's just gonna become like one of the super deadly lanterns because of that?
That happened? I don't even remember that.
Am I mistaken in what this is?
Is that a Black Lantern?
Why would this man who's just...
What's on his chest? Is it a triangle with lines going down?
No.
No, that's not a Black Lantern. Black Lanterns have...
Someone tell me what it is in chat, because that's...
Black Lantern, they have a triangle that's aiming down and then lines going down.
So is it a new one? It even says that he will nothing but deep sadness, nothing but
maybe
sorrow, and it changes it into black, and it does that like weird eye teardrop looking symbol.
I should have looked up better. I didn't get that when I read it because I remember Black Lanterns are they wield death. They're like zombies.
That's what I'm saying. That's what it looks like is happening here. He's holding.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that this is he's turning into a Black Lantern.
Oh well, I don't care about that because again, it's going to be a misused mechanic. What was I going to say? I will say the one cool thing, and it's obvious because I think in the Blackest Night event, Kyle becomes the White Lantern. I know Sinestro does too, but he ends up. But seeing him with all the colors, the spectrums on him, that was cool. I will say that's cool.
Yeah,
and if that is a prelude to where Green Lantern is going after Absolute Power, sign me up, because like we've been talking about there being this, another Green Lantern like spectrum color war. Like I'm down for that. Like I want that desperately because I wish I had been paying more attention when I was in college when that was going on. So yeah.
Our Man was the guy I was trying to think of. Our Man.
Like Our Man? Not like
1 hour.
Not like Our Man. Okay.
Yeah, like 60 minutes.
Joe, also, who is writing Iron Man, She-Hulk, and Doctor Strange? So She-Hulk, I don't know if it's getting picked up after she's done. I mean,
I doubt it will.
I don't think it is either. Iron Man, we don't know yet. Doctor Strange, isn't it still McKay?
I don't think that's going anywhere. But I don't know. I don't really pay attention to it.
Well, we're probably going to find out with San Diego Comic-Con. Let's see, what did Amber said? I didn't read this one, but I saw Alan have some badass moments in it. He does do some cool shit, but then he ends up getting taken out. So Joe's halftime question before we get into Marvel. With San Diego Comic-Con nearing soon, what comic book news do you want to happen? For me, the return of Donny Cates and more titles in the Ultimate Universe. I'd probably agree with all of that.
Y'all are smoking.
I know.
You were smoking the peace pipe so hard.
But that being said, we both, I think we, I don't know what spurred it on. Something broke where, we were talking about X-Men. And I said that it's time for it's time for him to go. It's time for CB to step down as head editor. And I think there needs to be a seismic shift in both the big two when it comes to writing and creative teams. I think it's very evident with what we read this week. When I listened to Comic Book Herald this past week about X-Men, I think he hit the nail on the head with X-Men. And we'll get there when we get there. But I agree with a lot of what he said when it comes to Marvel in general and DC. Like, it's time. Like, there hasn't been, outside of Hickman, right? Hickman's going to Hickman. Whether it's good or bad is up to you and what you read. His Ultimate stuff, really fucking awesome. His God stuff has a very small niche of fans. And then the rest of us are like, the fuck was that, bro? Yeah. But other than that, Al Ewing's Immortal Thor, I think, is a 50-50 right now. I just don't, there are times when there are times when they're really good, but we've had 3 issues. You can't deny this. We've had 3 issues of a story that we're both like, what the fuck is this?
Well, I think that's more emphasis than I would put on it.
I think it's true. Like, the artwork sucks. The story is like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Artwork does suck.
Who cares about these boxes? Hickman doesn't even care because his God thing is over. Like, I'm just saying. Philip Kennedy Johnson's Hulk run is about to end, so that's gone. What else? Like, She-Hulk is ending, so that's gone. Spider-Man's getting a new writer. We don't even know what direction we're going in with that. X-Men is where X-Men is, and right now, Prelude, or a little sneak peek, it's not looking too good. And we'll get there, but I don't know. I just think I think Marvel and DC are, whether they know it or not, it's time. It's time for a shakeup, or it's time to bring back some of these writers that, hey, pay them and let them do what they do best. Not, we'll get somebody else. Like, it's time. It's time to, and you're right. Like, and I'm sure, what's up, Canadian? I'm sure if Donnie wanted to and could, he'd be back. Yeah. I just don't think I think he's done. And who knows? I'm fingers crossed. I'm not trying to be like, nah, he's done. I'm saying I think he's done, because it's just been it's been such a life altering event for him that I don't think he's in it anymore. But
oh my God, Joe, don't say that.
What I would love for Benjamin Percy to get Hulk and PJK to get Guardians of, dude. Yeah, of course.
That would be really nice. Also, just to correct us, it 100% looks like Doctor Strange is ending at issue 18. We have September solicitation. It is not there for September. The issue 18 solicitation said Blood Hunt is over and Doctor Strange's world has changed. What comes next for the Master of Mystic Arts? Is it really time to say goodbye? And it has the entire cast on the cover.
Alyssa Wong. Ready? It's crazy that the Black Lantern is death, but in Thanos Annual series right now, it's about the Black Infinity Stone that is also death. Interesting. Yeah. All right, well, let's keep moving. Next up, we have Marvel's Avengers issue number 16 from Jed McKay. I love this issue. I think, again, there are some people out right now that are saying that Jed can't write teams. And I understand why they're saying that this week. But not because of this book. I think this book, he knows the power, the dynamic of the group, the power of the group, and so like their voices, even Quicksilver, who I'm right there with you, Nate. Like I don't like him as a character, he's writing him flawlessly.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I think with certain characters he can cook, but with others he can't. Now, is that because this is a tie-in to Blood Hunt and he has more of a scope and creative sense of what he's doing here? I would agree with that sentiment or that statement. Because I have thoughts about X-Men. I keep on saying it. We'll get there. It's the last book on our show. But I think with Blood Hunt and the Avengers, it's more fluid for McKay because he's writing it right now. I mean, he's 16 issues in, and he's had a great idea for it. And I don't know. I liked this issue. It's definitely setting us up for that other Avengers Assemble book, which I'm super stoked for. Even though it's McKay not writing it, I don't care. Like, it's Steve Orlando, so it's going to be great for me, or at least I believe it is. But man, I think my favorite character in this book, in this little mini arc, has to be Hercules. Hercules and Hazmat. Like they just
their relationship is fun.
It works so well. But again, don't like vampires in my comic books, and I absolutely love this issue. It was so good.
Yeah. I think having Villa still be on the art too, even though these are considered like fill-in or backup or like non-main issues, I really like that. I think that showed that they still wanted strength behind this book. They still wanted you. Hey, look, I know these are Blood Hunt tie-ins, but it's your main writer, it's your main artist. These books matter, and I think that's helped with it too, because I think these issues could have been not as strong. Some really crummy art.
Agreed. I agree with that. Joe, look,
don't even talk about X-Men. We're almost there. We don't need to talk about it anymore.
I like this book. It was fun. Daredevil, issue number 11.
I did catch up for this. I had to read issues 8, 9, and 10. But
holy
I did
shit!
It all.
Again, it's fine. It's not blowing me away. I will say that, but I am having fun with it. To continue, like the fact that Greed with Kingpin is being stretched into 2, even 3 issues. I like that. I've liked the possession concept of these 7 deadly sins possessing people that Daredevil knows. So I'm down with that. There's just I don't know, for some reason there's just something missing, and I don't know what it is, but there's just something missing with this book. And it's the tiniest of things. I don't know what it is, but it's not something like, well, I'm dropping the book. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's something, whether it's in the writing or the artwork, I don't know, that's missing for me in this book. And I think maybe that's just me. Like I've said before, like when we get on these new runs with new creative teams, it's just like every time I read them, there's just this little hint of like, yeah, but remember Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil? Like, it was fucking awesome. Like that's what I think it probably is. It's just my brain going like, it's not as good as that. I'm like, well, duh, nothing's gonna be as good as that. That thing was amazing. Like, you got to give these other books a shot and a chance to like get their own legs. But again, I do like the conflict between Matt and Elektra. I really like, oh yeah, I used to love her, and Elektra's like, yeah, you used to hit this, and like, you're a fucking dumbass for not being, you know what I mean? Like, I like that unspoken stuff between them. So I liked it. I thought it was a good book.
I really liked it. This was not necessarily because it was so amazing. And maybe part of it is because I read for it. But I really like the direction that we're going here. I like that. Yeah. Honestly, whenever we were alluding to Kingpin being back, I was like, man, let him have rest. Like, he was just doing this pseudo good guy shit with mutant books, and then here we go. And then him also being possessed by greed. I was like, okay, no, that's perfect. That's exactly the way to bring him back. That's exactly the right way to do it. When this book started, we always wanted, before we knew this was even coming, we knew Chip's run was ending, but we didn't know what was coming. We wanted a Daredevil's book.
Yeah. And
so for the past 3 issues, we've had a Daredevil's book. I'm all about it. I love that we're finally starting to get back into Foggy knows that he's alive. Detective Cole, Elektra, I was tired of that. And even the father stuff, like the whole priest things, like with this kid finding out who he is, and he's like, "I'm going to kill Daredevil." Like, I think it's fun. I think there's a lot of little pieces that are coming together.
Yeah.
The only complaint, and this is kind of petty, but I'm still going to make the complaint either. But anyway, Aaron Cooter is a good artist.
Yeah.
Straight up. For some reason, faces have never been his strength. They just haven't. And to go from Chichetto's Elektra to Cooter's Elektra is it's an absolute travesty.
Yeah.
It's a travesty.
Yeah. Look, I think Romita Jr. has just been in the office for too long, and it's just kind of seeping into
everyone else's work.
Again, and we'll talk about some other ones that seems to be. But yeah, you're right, 100%. Joe also says, I'm excited for Daredevil Woman Without Fear. That comes out next week. Seems the new Daredevil versus the new Punisher. That sounds dope as shit.
I like that.
All right, next up, we have the Ultimates issue number 2. Oh, no.
I guess push the button.
Okay. I thought it was good.
No, I did too. I think this is a de facto pick of the week, though. Like, I'm picking one for you guys, but like, I don't know that it deserves it. But honestly, anytime you shit on America in a comic, you're gonna get bumped. So
right. Well, what I really liked was like the villains in this book, like telling Cap like America's what it is, and he's like, "Where's America?" And you're like, "Oh, I get it."
Because it's literally
America Chavez.
America Chavez, yeah.
But I
loved that. I loved that so much.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was good. I liked it. I think again, Ultimates is it's only issue 2, right? No, isn't this issue 3? 2? Wow. Well, anyway, I did it for America. I don't know. I like the misdirect on the cover. Because he does fight Iron Man, right? He fights Obadiah in the original Gold. So he's fighting Iron Man technically.
Right.
So it's kind of like that happened. But again, like when we saw this cover, we're like, wait, what? And it's clear that that's the case.
Right.
Again, like I didn't pay much attention to the Ultimate, whatever setup because it was just so goddamn wordy. But what's come out of it has been absolutely fantastic. And this was great. I thought it was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. It's not disappointing. This is, even though it's not necessarily something new, it is, right? Like it's still something new because we're seeing these characters in a different light. We're seeing them different in this different story, even though we're coming to something more familiar with a lot of people with the Ultimates. And it's got me really stoked for issue 3 when we got Thor versus She-Hulk. Like I am so stoked for that, just to see the dynamic, what's going to happen, how it's going to work out, how it'll play out. But like you were saying, like I think the commentary in this and just the political, undertone.
Any of the political intrigue is going to be really interesting. Not just like bashing America, but just like political intrigue in general is
right.
We don't get it. I don't feel like we get enough of that in comics. It makes things like like House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones style, just like that.
Yeah.
Background conniving. I like that. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Also, I thought it was cool too that like in a way that was completely appropriate, Camp gave us like some more fill-in background to make the Ultimate Universe feel more familiar and alive, sort of a thing. I thought it was cool getting to see like the Maker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What is that what he calls himself? The Maker taking on
the
like
Maker.
Galactus, and then seeing how they changed like what happened with JFK and just all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Destroying the Savage Lands.
Yeah, just as what I liked about the story and the direction. Like the team is a terrorist in the public eye now, and they are the reason they don't have the power and people are dying. Yeah, it's a good flip for sure. All right, let's do it.
Really good too.
Yeah, it was. Let's do it. Let's talk about X-Men #1, From the Ashes, The New Beginning.
Do we have to?
Stegman. Yes, we do. Okay. Joe.
Right off the bat, Stegman gets an F.
We'll get there. So
I think that's the most important part of the book. Stegman.
Well, let me just get this out. Let me just get this thought out before I forget it. So when I first read it, I liked it. Like, my first reaction was I liked it. And what I liked was this new setup, this new mystery setup, which is the what is it called? Like the third class or some, these two different differentiating ideas that are basically
third class and fourth class, I think. Yeah,
something like that. Whatever. These two different organizations within Orcus after the fall of Orcus, the humans. And the mystery is that we've got adults who are now presenting mutant powers after it should have already clicked, right? And so we don't know if, I think it's pretty obvious that it's some kind of organization manipulating the X gene and giving it to these people, and that now they're becoming, so anybody can be a mutant, right? Like, that's what it looks like. So I was intrigued. I am intrigued with that. I'm not gonna say I am intrigued with that storyline. But, and I told you, I texted you, I was like, hey, I actually liked it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I liked it, but I'm not 100% sold on it. It's not my pick of the week. And the reason why it's not my pick of the week is because even though there is something new with that direction, with that mystery, in general,
the same mystery that we've had for 50 years, right?
Right. Like, it doesn't feel like it's doing anything that new. It's not doing anything like we're talking about Marvel having to do a reset with writers. And I said it in New Comic Book Day, and I said it kind of in passing, and it was more of just a thought, which is McKay is bound for a miss because he's killing it with Moon Knight. He's killing it with Doctor Strange. He's killing it with the Avengers. He's killing it with Bloodhunt. Like, he's doing it, right? And to say, hey, now I'm going to do X-Men. Like, wow, that is a lot. And this is a massive property.
Yeah.
And as I took time to digest this book and I listened to other people's perspectives, on the surface, it's fun. In my opinion, it's just kind of fun in the sense of, like, there's something here. But this is weird to say, I'm ready for Krakoa. Like, we're done. Krakoa's done. It is done. And I get that there has to be some connectivity, but, like, again, when we were kind of, proposed this From the Ashes, a new beginning, it doesn't feel like a new beginning, in my opinion. Like, this just feels like a continuation, or is it an epilogue? No, a prologue. It feels like a prologue to Krakoa, right? Is that the right thing? Like, after the story?
No. Epilogue.
It feels like an epilogue. And there are hints of new things happening. Now, this is...
No, there's... Name one new thing that's happening.
Well, no, again...
Name one thing that's not a reskin of...
I understand. I have not been in X-Men comics when this concept of humans becoming mutants. I have not been there with that. So that's what I'm saying from my perspective. So,
like
initially, Initially, I liked it, but I will agree with the criticisms of this book, which is nothing really new is happening. It feels somewhat rushed. The writing of the characters feels very fourth grade. And the artwork is a mess. And I hate saying that about Stegman. And so my assumption of the artwork is, hey, Stegman, you've got, let's say, 2 months. I don't even know. I don't know. What feels rushed? What's a timeline that is probably rushed for a comic book artist? Whatever that is, that's what Stegman... To me, my assumption is Stegman, even though, what is he doing right now? Probably nothing. I don't see him doing anything.
He has anything going on.
So my opinion would be they gave him this thing at the last second and said, hey, you're on X-Men. You're on X-Men, and go. And he was probably sitting in the meeting, and John Romita Jr. was in his office doing another horrible Daredevil cover, and he was like, "Hey," he was like, got it, whoop, and went on it. Now there are things, and I think there are panels in this book that do look kick-ass. Like I did like the last panel where we've got this massive, what looks like a sentinel, just clamored together, hovering over a town. That looked like classic Stegman. But then there are others, there were other majority of panels where like they straight up looked like John Romita Jr. artwork.
Why are they all children?
That too.
Cyclops looks like he's 16.
Yeah.
Kid Omega looks like he's 10. Like Magneto looks like he's 20, but just awkwardly has white hair. What?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
There's no. I'm sorry. There's to me.
No, you're right.
Really nothing redeeming about this, and I think that I will try. I'm trying to just like not be too extreme about it because I think Joe has really good points. Right. Joe said that this feels like this run will be more back to basics, that they're going to help new readers that are going to be coming from the MCU.
Sure.
And he even said, I think Jed McKay talked to the readers that don't want to go backwards through Wolverine in this issue. That when Wolverine said, he's like, I don't want to go through another rebuild, and he just walked away. Shit, maybe that's McKay saying, hey, if you don't like it, go read Wolverine or something. Because like, I'm not interested in it. It's Jed McKay. He's one of my absolute favorite writers right now. So he gets the service of 5 issues, just like everyone else does, that I enjoy. But like, I couldn't have been more disappointed. There was one redeeming quality of this book. That was the team interaction between Juggernaut and Magic. Loved it. That dynamic was fun. That was cute, silly. I liked it a lot.
I also liked the effectiveness of Psylocke. I liked the effectiveness of Psylocke. Like, sure, her being as bad, like the fact that she was badass, like what she was doing was badass to me is like, okay, cool. She's not just, an assassin with a skimpy outfit swinging a sword. Like she was used in such an effective way with her mutant powers. Like I really dug that. And I also liked Magneto going like, can we already get rid of Kid Omega? Like I fucking hate this kid. Like I did like that commentary. Like there were blips of personality and thought through concepts. But overall it just felt, the word's not campy. It felt flat, especially for it being a new #1, going back to the old school title. Like, I mean, yeah, of course I'm ready for like, even though you would make your blood boil and your eyes would roll over into the back of your head. But of course I'm looking for like Cyclops to be like, to me, my X-Men. Like I want that. Like I like that personally. But it didn't even feel like that. It just didn't feel like a #1. It felt like we're starting a new arc and this has been going on for a bit and like we got to find a new direction. That's what it felt like. I implore you to go see Comic Book Herald's book review. He says something great. He's like, I feel like a lot of the fandom is like, well, it's an X-Men book, so I'm gonna have to give it a pass. And he's like, you don't have to. Like you really don't have to. I'm not saying you have to shit all over the book. I'm not saying you have to review bomb it. I'm just saying sometimes you don't have to go, like you just don't have to. Like you can just say, you know what, I'm not reading that right now.
Yeah.
But I'm right there with you. Like I'm gonna give it 5 issues. Like some of the other stuff has me intrigued. Like the Phoenix book has me intrigued. I'm gonna check out X Factor. Like I'm gonna check them all out. I'm gonna see what they're about, because it definitely does feel like we're going in this like we're all gonna do our own thing. There really isn't gonna be any cohesiveness. We're just gonna have fun. And if it happens that I have 5 other books, one of them's gonna fall off, and unfortunately, it looks like this is it for McKay. Like, this is where now we could get to 5 issues, right? And we both could be like, "Holy shit, this is pretty cool!" Like, we're actually doing.
There's nothing I want more than for that to happen.
Right, and we're gonna give it that. We're gonna give it that space, right? So who knows? This is the first issue. Who knows? But it's not looking good. In my personal opinion. I'm not trying to, like you said, Joe has some very valid things that he's saying about it, and I think, everyone does. But to say that I wasn't a little disappointed after like really thinking about it, you know, it's true. Like it's just in I hate to say it, it's definitely the idea of the other writer's run being still fresh in your mind, even though we haven't had a Jonathan Hickman X-Men book for a very long time. But because of what he did was because of what he wrote was so impactful, I think this is to be anticipated. You know, like even though Krakoa ended on an incredibly sour note, on a incredibly like you rushed. This is what I took big time from Joe, or from Comic Book Herald. He said you rushed the end of Krakoa for this, for something this flat. That to me is where like we got to figure out our timelines, right? Like, did they rush it and then they're like, oh shit, but we got to write an X-Men book too? Hey, Jed McKay, Stegman, you're on this book. And you're like, whoa. You're like, you know what I mean? Like,
I unfortunately, yeah,
don't think that. Yeah, I know.
I think the rushed narrative is totally. These guys had plenty of time. Marvel's not going to rush the relaunch of mutants. There's no way.
I don't know, man.
I
don't know.
Never believe that. If Jed McKay and Ryan Stegman released a statement right now saying we only had 6 weeks to do this, I would call them liars. I'd literally have to see the emails, the receipts, the text messages. I would just say they're liars because I don't believe that at all. Marvel would not rush Kevin Feige with as much as he's getting directly involved with X-Men, knowing that mutants are about to be his biggest movie property, would not allow this to be rushed. They had all the time in the world to do this.
Yeah. Well,
and I'll leave one final thing just to maybe
to what? Sorry,
as an addendum to what Joe said. Joe said he said that maybe because I haven't read a lot of X-Men, this feels easy to jump in and enjoy the run. So maybe we're coming from different perspectives. Just for someone who's done some heavy lifting in mutants, and I don't mean this like super harsh. I just mean this is the best analogy I can come up with. If you were to take Christopher Claremont's run and Brian Michael Bendis' run, two very different runs, and you were to put them in an AI generator, I feel like this is what would come out. I'm not saying this felt like it was made by AI. I'm just saying it feels like this is what would come out of some type of bastardization of those two runs shoved together. But with the added note that there's nothing original from it. It's just we're just pulling pieces from these other runs.
Well, Joe, and I agree with you. Like it is definitely being presented as something that anyone can probably jump on. Like outside of like having to do a little bit of Wikipedia research on what is Krakoa. Other than that, like yes, this is incredibly easy for someone that isn't reading X-Men comics to jump in on and be like, oh, this is X-Men, right? Like, oh, I know who Cyclops is. You know, oh, well, wait, why is Juggernaut? Well, you know, no, why is Juggernaut on the team? And like that would do some research. You're like, oh, where's Professor X? Like, obviously there are things that are missing, but all in all, this is definitely an easy jumping on point for anybody to get on. And I think that's it played into that for me. Like when I read it, I was like, oh, this is so easy to read. But then I was like, wait a minute. Like we just got done doing a really fun and complex concept. Like there can be some middle ground between like fun and easy and complex and dramatic. You know what I mean? And I feel like if anything, I feel like that's the one thing for me personally is missing. But again, I am going to continue reading it. I'm picking up all the other X books. I've got them on pre-order on my FOCs. So like it's there, but I don't know. Like it definitely, again, in my opinion, it didn't swing the weight of a new #1 in my opinion. Like it just didn't. Like it didn't. I didn't finish it and I wasn't going like, oh shit, you know, like there was some intrigue with this organization thing. There was some intrigue again with the QR code that if you scanned it, you could see, you know, this council of would appear to be, I think they're mutants. And I don't know, like that to me is like, oh, that's interesting. Like that, I am intrigued with that. Like, I don't know who that is and I want to know more. That had me on it, but a majority of the issue didn't have that for me. I don't know. But Joe, you fucking rock. Like, you kick it. Back to school. So back to school look. Love the segment Juggernaut. I wonder why Magneto is restricted to the chair, knowing X amount of months he was young and ready to kick ass. All right. So there'll be.
I wonder if that's a power play versus a necessity, or maybe did it say he had to be in the chair?
I don't think it did, but I may have glossed over on that. Joe says, I listened to Comic Book Herald and I didn't agree with them. Maybe I haven't read a lot of X-Men, so feels easy to jump in. You already said that. I think the first half, the first arc will be more from the ashes before we get a new beginning. That could be true.
Yeah, that does feel like that.
If you slapped Doom Patrol on the book, it'd pick up the week because I thought the book was a clone of X-Men stories.
Well, I mean, and it's kind of like a chicken and egg situation. Doom Patrol came out before books ever came out in the 60s, but they've been copying each other ever since. Like, that's right. They're the same thing.
Yeah, metahumans, mutants, blah, blah, blah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for episode 181 of Two Fat Guys Pull Us. We appreciate every single one of y'all that watched this live, and we appreciate every single one of y'all that is watching this as a past episode. Thank you to our members, Joe, Patty, John, and Hayden. Sorry, not Holden. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for supporting the channel. And if you are thinking about becoming a member, we do have a join member button, and that's just, just showing the support to the channel and just kind of, pushing us along and getting us a little bit more support in that way as well, not just your viewership. So if you're thinking about doing that, please do, but don't feel inclined. It's just an option there to, and you do get, cool little emotes and cool 8-bit figure or 8-bit weapons and stuff next to your name showing that you were a member. But thank you again for watching. We'll catch you guys this Tuesday with a new Comic Book Day video. And I don't remember. I think it's not a flat week. I know that, but I don't remember anything jumping off.
9 books is what I'm looking at. The end of Fish Flies. So I'm big on that. Napalm Lullaby. Bulk.
Well, hey, don't say it all. Don't say it all loud. Don't say it all loud.
Really? You know what else we got? We got yellow books. We've got blue books.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I can't see the chat right here because my camera's right here, but hold on, let's see. Yeah, the Cap trailer looks fucking awesome. Dude, okay, so there's a part where General Ross, Harrison Ford, goes, "You're not Captain America," and Sam looks at him. He's like, "Yeah, I'm not." And then they show him in his new suit going fucking supersonic, like a boo, and you're like, "Fuck yeah, dude! This is gonna be so damn cool." That's got me. I'm obviously stoked for Deadpool coming out here in a couple weeks, but that Captain America movie is gonna be fucking awesome. I am so excited for it. Anyway, new Comic Book Day video this Tuesday. Then we'll catch you guys live again this Sunday. It may be a Just Jim. We'll have to wait and see. We've got a little bit of a shakeup with things, but don't fret. There will be a live show, but it may be Just Jim this next coming Sunday, but we will see. But as always, fam, be kind to one another and read more comics. We'll catch you guys this Tuesday. Later, guys. Bye. What did Stefan say? Stefan said, first MCU movie I want to see day one, 100%. Yeah, Agatha, dude, have you seen the Agatha trailer? That shit looks scary as fuck, dude.
Nope.
Scary. Not oh, that's scary. Ooh, scary.
It's scary.
Scary. Red Hulk, yeah, dude. Maybe She-Hulk versus Red Hulk. Don't say that. I want that so bad. I want it to happen. Hopefully it happens. Oh, is that going on right now? The Copa America game? I know England lost.